Hello, guys. This is a review of The Nun and Mayfair Witches. Let's start with The Nun because I really didn't like that movie. One could even say I liked none of it. I remember watching The Conjuring a while back, or rather, sleeping through The Conjuring. It was a very boring movie. I was struggling to stay awake, and yes, I did work a graveyard shift back then, but I would still watch other movies perfectly fine. I'm not the type of person that falls asleep through movies easily. There's only been a couple, and The Conjuring was one of them, out of the hundreds, if not thousands, of movies that I've watched. The Nun, what was it? Maybe a couple of weeks ago, I watched for the first time. I gave it a try. The only reason why I have it with me is because it was a gift from my mom. I think she bought it for me like over a year ago. And I was like, oh, mom, we should probably watch this that you gave to me a while ago. I did interact throughout the film with the characters. Well, I mean, a one-way interaction. I was like, girl, you're so dumb. The movie begins with a nun dying of suicide because there's an evil entity that looks like a nun that's chasing after her. Then this young lady who's interested in becoming a nun is sent to this place of worship. Um, I think it's called convento in Spanish. I don't know if it's convent, maybe in English. Um, yeah, she's there to exorcise the demons. Not really. She's there to check out the place and use her psychic powers. Kind of, yeah, in a way too. According to the priests, she's there to see if it's still a holy place or not, blah, 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 blah. Then they find out that there is this evil entity, like I said, that takes the form of a nun so that she goes unrecognized. Even though it's pretty evident, all the other ones look human. And she starts to have a lot of these visions. They're not real. She sees all the other nuns when in reality they were all dead for a while now. She falls for this guy who ends up saving their lives, but is possessed by this entity. And that's what the movie's about in a nutshell. Yeah, is it a terrible movie? No, it's not a terrible movie at all. It's just so predictable, so cheesy. The nun approaches people as if she's on a hoverboard. Like I gave my younger siblings a hoverboard as a gift a couple of years back, and that's literally how my little brother looks. Something like this. And that's what the nun does. The nun, yes. If I was to wake up in the middle of the night and I see somebody who looks like the top half of this, sure, I'd be creeped out. But I'd also be creeped out if I saw you. Like, I don't think it's the makeup department. Like, sure, it's cool, it's creepy. But the execution of the movie is terrible. The movie is boring. It reminds me a lot of the movie with Daniel Radcliffe, The Woman in Black, I believe it's called. That movie was a little bit better. It didn't have the action that this movie had, which that's, the downside of that movie. But it was at least it was more appropriate, more believable. The characters really were kind of forced into this, unlike this situation that they had spoilers like, oh, you were really sent here because of, like, we all knew that, girl. Oh, it turns out that the nuns are not even real. I knew that. And then they wear these black masks, make it look like they're about to, like, perform for, like, X Factor or something. None of it was good. I didn't, not none, I'm just very dramatic with what I say, but it's just, like I said, it was boring, it was predictable, it was the same old, same old. Why does that cemetery have like friggin' 5,000 crosses? cross after cross after cross. The whole freaking movie, a whole bunch of crosses. I feel like you know when somebody is like possessed by a demon and so they hate like the cross and everything, they give them a cross and they start burning. That's how I felt watching the movie. It's not that I have a problem with it, is that it makes it very Hollywoodish, very cheesy. In real life, places don't look like that. The characters were just very dumb. What else can I say? They're dumb. They make dumb decisions. And they're not forced into that situation like other movies. They voluntarily decide to stay. It's not even worth my time. The Nun is not scary. It's boring. It's predictable. It's repetitive. And very dark. Like almost the entire movie is very dark. No. And it is by the same, some of the same creators as um Insidious. And the Insidious movies are top tier. The Insidious movies actually have a good story to follow. Crazy demons, crazy killers. This is all same old, same old, same old, very repetitive. I don't want to be disrespectful to the people who created it or the people who star in it. Everyone, is a professional. They're doing their best. It really isn't my cup of tea, though. And like I said, I don't want to offend any hardcore fans. It just really isn't for me. But I do love a lot of other movies by the same creators. Mayfair Witches. My rating for this movie, The Nun, would be 4.5 out of 10. Maybe 4. Yeah, let's keep it 4. 4 out of 10. Mayfair Witches stars Alexandra Daddario. She's the reason why I decided to give this a try in the first place. She plays the character of Rowan. And I could be wrong about some of the names, but as I always say, the names are really not important. It's more like the story itself and what it made me feel. I expected it to be Harry Potterish, but more adult oriented and in the outside world. And yes, it was that, but it was surprisingly better than I thought. I remember putting the first episode and thinking, like, yes, it's good, but at the same time, it's not good. She's a surgeon, so very capable, although she's not very successful with like relationships. She has some problems here and there. Her mom is dying of cancer, and she finds out that she has the power when she gets mad at people to like kill them with just her thought. And she tells her mom before she passes away that, you know what, I think I have a gift, or like this thing about me, something is wrong. And she keeps saying, no, girl, no, you're right, you're good, you're good. After she passes away, she starts being followed by this guy and later finds out that she is special. She's a witch. She is a descendant of a witch family. And a lot of things occur. She actually has the opportunity to meet her biological mom, but she dies. Then she meets Lasher, who's kind of like the devil, and he controls the witches. And it's a lot. I never do it justice. And since this is a series, I cannot for the life of me summarize all the episodes. It was long. But there is a scene when they go to where Rowan goes to, oh my gosh, New Orleans. Yeah. And they give her something to drink and she starts seeing dead people. The Sixth Sense. And that is one of those moments in the series that really drew me in. And I was like, okay, this is trippy, this is different, this is cool. Reminded me of Wes Craven's, I believe, The Serpents and the Rainbow, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't like that movie, but I liked the vibe that it was going for. It also reminds me of Candyman in a way. I liked it. I liked Mayfair Witches. There's so many things that happen. it transported me, like I said, that New Orleans episode where when she barely gets there and she's like experimenting and dancing with Lasher. By the end, it took me 2 days to watch this entire series. Well, this entire first season. I was already in. I was in. I was invested. I hope that they make a season 2 because I'm very curious about what's gonna happen. They mix like they go back and forth, to give us kind of like context. Like, why is this happening? Oh, because hundreds of years ago this is what happened. Um it's very, very crazy. It reminds me of the boys in the sense that they reflect with supernatural things what really goes on in the real world when it comes to propaganda, brainwashing people, um, and all of that terrible stuff. For example, I could go on YouTube and let's say go under a Selena Gomez video, whether it's her being like chased by paparazzis or just a music video, whatever, right? Just imagine it. I go there and I'm like, you know what? I met her and she was so mean to my little brother. She said, "No, you ugly duckling, pot headed looking turd." And I was like so embarrassed. So I ran to the bathroom with my brother. He was crying. I couldn't get him to calm down. Then later security told us that we had to leave the restaurant because the restroom was for her. Like, I could make this up. I just came up with it right now. Some people are gonna read it and be like, "Who are you? What? When and why are you saying all of this now?" Like, but I'm willing to bet the majority of people, hundreds of people, are very stupid and they're actually gonna believe it. For example, let me clarify. In The Boys, there's this guy who ends up shooting a guy at a like a liquor store because they keep saying about terrorists and super terrorists and they're coming here from other countries and blah blah blah. So there's a point where like the guy, the salesperson, is like, "Oh, here you go, your items," and then the glare of like the light against the window passes through his eyes, and he's like, "Oh, you're a soup," and shoots him dead. And everybody, and the silly thing is that he still thinks that he's in the right. Yes, I rid the world of this monster. No, he wasn't even a soup. Similarly, is what I'm trying to say with the example that I just gave about like me going on a YouTube video, for example, of any celebrity, Tyra Banks, whoever. Mayfair Witches does that with the idea of witches being real. So they're talking about, oh, that's not godly, that's satanic, and this, and witches will corrupt you, and witches are evil, and blah blah blah. And yes, they capture a real witch, a family member of Rowan. But how do they even know that? How could you confirm? And isn't it crazy that people could, like I said, believe anything? That's what I really appreciate about Mayfair Witches, honestly. The scariest thing about the show, because trust me, the whole fact that they're witches and everything, that's not scary. That's cool, in my opinion. The scary thing is that people could actually believe that you're a witch when you're not a witch and just murder you. And that could happen with literally anything. That's what's crazy. With anything. People could be so easily convinced and persuaded that X, Y, and Z, they are the villains. He is the enemy. They are a threat to your livelihood. They, whatever. And people believe it. That's insane. That's scary. As I was watching them like torture the poor little girl or like, chain her up, I was like, oh shoot. And in the end, I think they do kill her. So Alexandra Daddario's character Rowan gets up and she starts like killing people left and right. I was like, you go, girl. But now she's gonna belong to Lasher because that's what she needed to do to complete the prophecy. It's very confusing. I know. I didn't really talk a lot about the story itself, but it's fun. I would really recommend it, especially well if you love witches. It's a no-brainer. If you like horror stuff, this isn't very creepy, but it's within that, world, and you could like I did, find a lot of like similarities with other classic movies. And one can never go wrong looking at Alexandra Daddario's beautiful face. She's gonna have a baby. I've followed her career. I've mentioned it in other reviews since like around like a year or two after the original Percy Jackson movie, I believe, sometime around there. Because of Logan Lerman and the Perks of Being a Wallflower, I started watching both of their careers, Logan Lerman's and Alexandra Daddario's, and I really enjoy a lot of their films. I think that Alexandra has gotten better as an actress. She keeps getting better and better and better and better. And I really enjoy a lot of her movies. Texas Chainsaw. Yeah, that's the first one that I watched with her. Gosh, I really like that movie, even though it's one of the most hated ones. But yeah, I'd say Mayfair Witches deserves a rating. Well, my personal rating would be 8.5 out of 10 in its category. It's really good. It's fun. Yeah, guess that's it for this one. Thank you for watching.